You're very welcome back. Now, since 1992, children's charity Make-A-Wish have granted wishes for more than 2,600 brave children across Ireland who are battling life-threatening medical conditions.
Now, this morning we're joined by Bernadette Lowe and her 8-year-old daughter Grace, who is in remission from leukaemia. And we're joined by the charity's Wish granter, Alva Goff. Ladies, good morning. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us this morning. Bernadette, or Bernie, because we're on first name terms now, Bernie, we might start with you. You might tell us Grace's story, would you? Tell us about when you first noticed something wasn't quite right and about the path you then were taking down.
So in 2016, Grace had high temperatures and kept getting reoccurring infections, and every time she ended up in hospital, they'd do bloods, and it was always a viral thing. So it came out anyway in June that Grace had acute myeloid leukemia when she was 3.5 years old.
Wow, okay. So from that moment, Bernie, then, you know, every emotion's going through your mind, and then you start thinking about treatment and how do we fix this and how do we deal with this. So how quickly after the diagnosis was Grace in treatment, and how did you guys deal with that?
We were told on a Friday evening that it was leukemia, and on Sunday we were transferred to St. John's in Crumlin, and she started her treatment that Monday morning.
It's amazing, and it's an amazing place. I was there myself last week with one of my own little lads. They're amazing people in there, aren't they, Bernie?
They are amazing.
Bernie, no parent can ever prepare themselves for a diagnosis like that. How did you feel? Take us back to that day when they told you, because sometimes the hardest part is not knowing what's wrong. Then you're told what's wrong and it's leukemia. It must be quite a shock.
I knew something was wrong with Grace, and every time she told me she was fine, I knew there was something there. But I never ever expected the words that came out of her mouth. And it's horrendous. There's no way to describe how you feel to be told that your baby is seriously ill. And
how is Grace now? I know we're talking about Grace, she's sitting right there beside you, and we're going to have a great chat with Grace now in a minute. How is Grace now, Bernie? How are you doing now, Grace?
Good.
You're good. And tell us, what class are you in now in school?
I'm in second class.
Second class, excellent. And have you gone back to school, have you?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
And were you delighted to go back to school?
Yeah.
Good. And can I ask you one last very important question? You know the way today is Mother's Day, right? And everybody says that they have the best mammy in the world. Do you have the best mammy in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you might.
There's only one answer to that, wasn't there,
I thought
Grace?
you might.
Bernie, the treatment that Grace went through, tell us about that treatment, because there was a few hiccups along the way.
She started her chemo, and she done very well. She went into remission after her first go, and she finished her treatment in October 2016. But when we went for a checkup on the 30th of August 2017, the bloods weren't good, and they done a bone marrow aspirate, and Grace had unfortunately relapsed.
So you needed, or should I say Grace needed to get a procedure done then, a transplant, and you were on the lookout then for a donor?
Yeah, the first time Grace was sick, we have 3 other children, and they were tested, and none of them were a match to Grace. So we knew when she relapsed that she needed a bone marrow transplant to cure her, and we knew that the siblings weren't a match, so she was put on the live register list. And there was nobody on the list. She was on it 3 or 4 weeks and not one person. So I offered my sister's children without even asking her.
As you do, yeah.
We're 2 sisters married to 2 brothers, so the children were double cousins.
Wow,
Okay.
Her 4 children were tested, and her little boy Scott, who was 8 years old at the time, was a 10 out of 10 match for Grace.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So how did that conversation go, Bernie, in terms of Scott going forward as the perfect match?
It was funny because they all got their blood tests, and Arlene was passing Scott's bedroom that night, and he was praying he was praying that one of them would be a match for Grace, and he was also praying that it wasn't him.
Ah, Lord. Well, look, you then went on to become aware of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and then Grace had a very specific wish, and we'll bring Ava in from the Make-A-Wish Foundation now. But before we bring Ava in, Grace, what was your wish? What did you want to happen?
I want to see Ed Sheeran, but I couldn't, so I got a tree house.
Oh, very good. And tell me about the tree house now.
The tree house has a blue slide for my brother and a pink slide for me, and it has a telescope, and me and Charlie play in it every day.
My,
Wow,
look at
that is super cool. I believe it was put in on the dampest day of the year, but it didn't dampen your spirits, Grace. Alva, we might bring you in here because we are very familiar with the wonderful work that you do on the show here on Ireland AM, because we've talked about it so often. But for viewers who are joining us, maybe you'll give them a sense of what the Make-A-Wish Foundation is all about.
Thanks, Anna. Good morning, everybody. I suppose Make-A-Wish, as you quite rightly said, has been in Ireland 29 years this year, and we'll be celebrating our 30th next year. And we grant wishes to children who are living with life-threatening illnesses, and they are between the ages of 3 and 17 and living in Ireland. And they must be eligible at time of application. So we grant the wish. I suppose a wish granter, which is what my title is a bit like a fairy godmother. So we have a look at their wishes, we plan, we organise, and then we add a little bit of magic to it as well.
What an incredible job. I tell you, that comes with some responsibility, though, doesn't it, Alva?
I have to say, it's a great job, really, Simon. No day is the same, no wishes are the same, and that's what makes it so special.
And today, the 14th of March, Mother's Day, brings to an end your Wish Week campaign. So how has the campaign gone for you? And of course, it's a very different campaign this year because, you know, you can't get out there and shake tins under people's faces in supermarkets and at red lights. So how did you guys pivot and change this year?
Well, this year has been huge for us in regards to fundraising and changing wishes as well, because a lot of our wish children would have travelled. But in terms of fundraising, quite right, as you say, we'd be out on the streets, we'd be shaking buckets, selling, you know, our little pins, etc. And we've had to do everything and turn it to online. So we're asking people for donations. Normally we have a wish day, and it runs obviously just one day in the year. And this year we've turned it to a wish week. This is the second year that we've been affected by the pandemic because our collection day last year hit on the very first Friday that we were all locked down. So we are asking people to dig deep this year for us.
Of course. You have brought absolute magic to children's lives, and we've seen that happen. It's been quite incredible to watch what you've done. Grace, I believe you were on the toy show as well. Is that true?
Yeah,
How was that?
good.
Yeah, and they surprised you with a special trip, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mum, how are you doing on this Mother's Day, Bernie?
Oh, I'm grand.
That's such a typical Irish mammy's answer.
Grand.
Sure, look, I'm grand, don't be making a fuss. Listen, Grace, you wanted to say hello to your teacher, didn't you?
Yeah.
What's your teacher's name?
Miss Poland.
Oh, very good. And we've been in touch with Miss Poland, who's promised that you can have no homework for a couple of days. She made a promise to me. Is that all right? But listen, Bernie, we appreciate you coming on and telling your story with Grace. You know, as we said in the introduction, you guys are telling your story in order to help other people. And Alva, your charity, as Anna said, continue to do incredible work for an incredible bunch of people. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and a happy Mother's Day to you all. Thank you, Grace. Thanks, Bernie. Thanks, Alva.
Thank you, girls. Bye-bye. Stay safe.
Bye. Thank you.
Right, don't forget, you can make a difference by donating to Make-A-Wish at makeawish.ie/donate.
Now we'll take a quick break. Join us over on the catwalk next.